Hi guys, so my name's Mel M. Rubin, I'm 27 and I'm from London. I'm going to give you a bit of a background into myself and my story so you can understand me, connect with me and understand what I've gone through, because maybe you've gone through something similar and you can learn from it or take some insight from it. But essentially I struggled with depression for the majority of my life, to be fair. I've always been different. I've never really, everyone's different, so of course I've always been different, but I've never conformed to societal norms. What I mean by that is I've chosen different ways to dress. I've chosen different ways to do my hair, as you can see. And I've just never been normal. And because of that, growing up through school, I was just the easy one to pick on. And I never stuck up for myself. I never had that confidence in sticking up for myself. And consequently, I got bullied because of it. I feel like if I did stick up for myself, I probably wouldn't have got bullied so much, but hey ho, that's how life goes. And I truly believe things happen for a reason, and I did need to go through this stage in my life to learn from it. So yeah, I got bullied at school. And funnily enough, the bout that really affected me was by two old best friends, and I stopped going to school, so badly so that my mum nearly got sent to prison because of it. What I'd do is I would wake up, I'd pretend to get ready, my mum would leave to go to work, and then I just wouldn't go to school and I'd stay in bed all day. And that's when my depression really started. Was when, was at school. I'd just stay in bed all day. I'd just sleep. I just didn't want to do anything. I'd just sleep all day. And it didn't get any better. I got sent to counselling. That didn't really help. I ended up getting involved in the wrong crowd, as you do, because when you're depressed, you generally don't look at respecting yourself and liking yourself, so hanging around with the wrong crowd kind of comes in with it. I did get involved in drugs at quite a young age, and I was drinking at quite a young age as well, so that didn't help my mum. Sorry mum, if you're watching this, I'm sorry for what I put you through. I was just going through a really hard time in my life. Yeah. Woo! So yeah, I got involved in the wrong crowd. I'm actually really quite happy that I've got a good head on my shoulders. Because even though I got involved in the wrong crowd, I did experiment, but I didn't go too far out of it. It was my way, I'd say, of self-medicating, escaping. It's a way of escapism, isn't it? People get involved in narcotics to escape from what they don't want to face. I started self-harming, I think, when I was about 14, 15. And I'd hide it. It's not necessarily something that I'm particularly proud of today, but they're my battle scars. And it reminds me how far I've come when I do see them. But yeah, for people that don't understand why people do it, completely respect that. I mean, if you've never done it, you'll never understand, but it's just a way of release. Fortunately, I'm over it, completely over it. But yeah, that in my time, I think, because I don't like hurting people, I never have. That's not what I'm about. And when I have hurt people, it's been because of my own insecurities. Like when I was younger, I used to take the mick out of people because I found it funny. But that was my own insecurities, and that was how I was dealing with my own insecurities. I'm not saying that it's right, because it's not, but that's just the way it was, and I fully hold my hands up, and I have apologised to the people that I've upset since, when I've seen them. But yeah, you go through things and you grow through things, and I've certainly grown through a lot of things. I'm not perfect. I've made my mistakes. But yeah, I guess I started self-harming because I didn't want to take it out on things. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I did. I'm sure my mum can vouch for that. I threw a chair at a wall once. But generally, no, I don't. What's the point in breaking stuff? But then you could probably say, what's the point in hurting yourself? Everyone's different, right? So that was my way of release. And yeah, I got over that. I guess I was self-harming all the way up until I was about 21, 22. But yeah, it didn't help my depression getting into a toxic relationship when I was... It was when I was 20. It wasn't long before my 21st birthday, and it was quite toxic. I mean, we drink together quite a lot. We do drugs together, and over the years, it just spiraled out of control. I mean, I'm quite lucky in the sense that I haven't got an addictive personality. I can go with or without, you know, I'm not fussed. My issue is, and always has been, I love a good time, and I find it hard to say no, which thankfully I'm getting a real good grip on now, because I have goals that I want to achieve, and my goals are worth more than just the party lifestyle, and I've come to realise that now. But before I found my purpose, and before I found my goals, and like something to strive towards, it was very hard for me to say no. So yeah, thankfully I haven't got an addictive personality, but being around someone who did, and being with someone who did, that did not help my situation at all. Now, me and my ex-partner, we would spend literally every day together. I think the longest I ever spent away from him when I was with him, and I was with him for nearly 5 years, was when I climbed Kilimanjaro, and that was for 11 days. And yeah, like the longest aside from that would have been like 3 days. But for the first couple of years, we were literally in each other's pockets every single day. And my mum did warn me, this is not going to work out well, you do need your life. And I was like, no, I'm fine. As you do believe that you'll be fine, but you're not. And for anyone watching that is in a relationship like that you're in each other's pockets day in, day out, and you're always with each other, and you don't get space for one another, just take it from my experience, that is not good. It's really important that you have your life away from your partner, firstly, so you have stuff to talk about and you don't get bored of one another. But being in each other's pockets all the time, when you do start to branch out, if you do want to go out with friends, your partner can get jealous, and so many things can happen that are not good for the relationship. So you want to start setting boundaries for yourself in your life, and this is somewhere that I went wrong. So going back, we were very toxic, and in a toxic situation, we were drinking and doing drugs quite a lot together, and his addiction spiraled, which did not make the situation any better at all. Just downhill, and every time I tried to speak to him about it, oh yeah, I'll sort it out. He'd sort it out for a week, and then he'd go back to exactly the same. But me, I'm the kind of person who sees the best in people, so I stuck around for so long, and I loved this guy implicitly. It was crazy, like, yeah, and that's why I stayed for so long, and that's why I let him walk all over me. But subsequently, the lies and the broken promises and by the way, he would accuse me of cheating on him, which is something that I would never do, ever. Like, what's the point in being with someone if you're going to cheat on them? Like, really? Honestly. So, he would accuse me of cheating on him, and if any guy would look at me, he would make me feel bad even though I wasn't asking for it. And at the time of being in that relationship, because I never let him tell me what to do, I didn't think I was being controlled. But little did I know I was being emotionally abused, and I didn't realise this until after I got out of the relationship. And while we were splitting up, while we were splitting up and going through that, this was when my depression and my anxiety was at its worst, because of everything that was going on and everything that built up. I felt like because I'm the kind of person that will just deal with things myself. Because I don't like putting burden on people, and I just kept things in, and I'd cry to myself and la-di-da. But yeah, so this was when my depression and my anxiety got really, really bad at the end of the relationship, and we split up. And then I just had to fend for myself, essentially, and rebuild myself up, because I kind of lost myself in that relationship completely. Because, you know, when I'm with someone, I love them, and I do as much as I possibly can for them with whatever I have, you know, and that's what I did for him, and I lost myself. So coming out of a relationship, not fully knowing yourself, and then realising you got emotionally abused and being depressed and anxious, is like, whoa, where do I start, you know? So yeah, I had to rebuild myself, and I'm very fortunate that when I was at school and I was seeing counsellors, they advised my mum to put me on medication. And my mum flat out refused. So thank you so much, Mum, for flat out refusing and telling them where to shove it, essentially. Because I don't know what would have happened if you would have put me on medication. Because without going on medication, it taught me to fend for myself, essentially. And I've always fended for myself. And I truly believe that medication, it just masks the problem. It doesn't get to the underlying cause of the problem. So I'm very glad that I've never gone on medication. And when I was going through my really bad stage after my breakup, and the breakup was in 2016, by the way. It was like around Christmas 2016, and then we had a bit of a break. We were going to get back together in May, we were trying again, and then like we proper finished in May 2017, and now what's the date? Now it's November 2019. So it's been a journey, and I'm so glad I wasn't put on medication, because it taught me to fend for myself. Now, when we split up, I did not want to go on medication, so I basically started from scratch, building on myself. Now, this was a journey. Because of what I went through and how I felt about myself, I went through a really bad bout of self-medicating, of drinking, of doing drugs, like going really bad for quite a while, probably about a year afterwards, to be fair. Not every day, but I'd binge. And that would be my escape. So I'd go to work Monday to Friday, and the weekends would be my escape, and that's when I would self-medicate. And obviously it's not good, because it doesn't get to the root of the problem. You're just running away from things, and then you're getting wasted, you're speaking about how you feel, and then you're crying your eyes out, and then like you forget what you speak about. It just doesn't work. But yeah, and it didn't help that I was was with the wrong people in my support. You know, the people that were supporting me, they just wanted to get wasted with me, which, you know, didn't serve me. I thought they were my friends, but no, they just wanted to get wasted. Turns out they wasn't, because they're not around anymore. You know, since my growth journey, they've gone, they've disappeared. They're probably still getting on it every weekend. But yeah, the pinnacle point for me was when I started my business. So I started my business, and that's when, like, I was still going through my growth journey, and, like, even though I started my business in July 2017, and I started my personal development then, and I was still having those weekends. I'd say it took about 6 to 10 months to get over that binge weekend. But in those 6 to 10 months, I was still personally developing myself, and I was growing myself, and I was learning, and that was helping me get over it, get over my depression and the way that I felt with the personal development. And then things started changing, and because of my own personal growth, I feel like that's why I started moving away from the people that weren't serving me, that I was doing these wrong things with, that wasn't serving me. So I started surrounding myself with the right people, and then I started surrounding myself with the right people. My diet changed, so I became a pescatarian at first. So my diet got better, and then I was working out more, exercising, and then just keeping that consistency and going through that. And it's really, since I've started working on myself, that I've gotten over my depression and my anxiety. Don't get me wrong, I still have negative thoughts. We all have negative thoughts. But I've gotten to the root cause, and I've sorted things out that would have affected how I felt. So I listen to a lot of self-help podcasts, and I really feel like a massive contributing factor into me getting over my depression is personal development, is working on myself, is constantly growing and learning, because I'm not staying stagnant in the same place, and I don't feel like I don't have a purpose, and I haven't got a connection to anything. It's really important that we understand ourselves and our strengths as well as our weaknesses, but what we have to offer and what our passions are and what we have to give. And I really feel like personal development is a main contributing factor for me getting over my depression and my anxiety, because it made me realise what I have and what I have to give, you know, what I've been taking for granted, how lucky I am, where I want to go in life. So yeah, personal development was a main contributing factor for me. And I've listened to so many self-help podcasts, and I truly, since incorporating all of this, I truly believe this as well, is your diet. Your diet really affects the way that you feel. Your gut is like your second brain, and if the foods that you're eating are not making that bacteria in your gut happy, you're not going to be happy. It really does affect your mood. Now, I'm not an expert in this by any means, but I do implore that you research this if you want to find out more about it. I mean, I've got a book that I got from my late aunt, and it talks about your microbiome. And I've heard about this particular book that I'm going to read is called The Clever Guts Diet. It's all about your gut and detoxing your gut and everything like that. What is feeding your bacteria really does affect your mood. So if you're eating rubbish and if you're eating processed things with chemicals in it, it's not going to be good for your body and your mood and the way you feel. And I've heard so many times, if you are struggling with depression, look at your food and look at what you're fueling yourself with. And I can truly, truly back that up. Like, I was pescatarian for a while, and I really started looking at what I was putting into my body since then. And subsequently, I ended up going full plant-based, so I can safely say I'm vegan now. I've been vegan since August of this year, so since August 2019, and I have never felt better. Before becoming vegan, I was pescatarian for about a year and a half, and I started feeling better from being pescatarian alone. But since I've started, since I've cut out fish and dairy completely, I've never felt better at all. And it's just crazy how the foods that you put in your body can affect your mood. But it makes sense, right? This is what you're fueling yourself with your energy, your food and your drink. So if you're eating rubbish, you're going to feel rubbish. You're not going to put the wrong oil in a car because the car won't run. Or you're not going to put the wrong kind of water in a fish tank because the fish will die. So why do so many people not think about the food that they're putting into their body? That is the root cause to a lot of the things that we're struggling with, depression being one of them. So food was a massive thing for me. Now, you know, I eat whole foods, and I cook my own foods, and I try and eat as many raw foods as possible, so like raw fruit and veg, because it's high vibrational foods. The ORP, which is the oxidation reduction potential, a minus rather than a plus. It vibrates higher. It's good for our body. It doesn't oxidize our body. And it hydrates us more as well because it's raw food and you haven't cooked out the hydration in it. And at the same time, staying hydrated. The fact that so many people do not drink water or do not drink enough water. We're 72% water. It makes sense that we need to fuel ourselves with water, and the right water as well. Me personally, I drink Kangen water. I truly, truly believe it is the best water that we can drink. And if you want to find out more about Kangen water, search up electrolyzed reduced water on PubMed or NIH, and that will give you all of the information you need for this water in regards to scientific studies. But think about it. You're not going to drink water from a toilet bowl, or you're not going to drink water from the sea. So the water that comes through the taps, even though the government deems it safe, how safe is it? The amount of chlorine that's in that water is crazy, and the amount of chemicals that are in that water. And bottled water is no better. It's no better. And these waters are oxidizing to the body as well, so it's essentially poisoning us when we drink it. So what you're fueling yourself with really does affect the way that you feel. And then exercise. If you're not moving and if you're not exercising your body, you're not releasing those endorphins. I feel that's been a massive contributing factor for me getting over my depression is exercising. I exercise at least 5 times a week now. And it, you know, healthy body, healthy mind. It allows that release, the release of stress, but it also releases endorphins in your body as well to make you feel good. And surrounding myself with the right people, I feel like community is a massive thing. Community is a very important thing, and I'm I'm surrounded by a community of amazing people in the business that I'm involved in that are supportive, that are uplifting, that are positive. And it's so good to be surrounded by these kinds of people, because when you're surrounded by negative people that are complaining, are moaning, are judgmental of other people, that have nothing really constructive to say, that are not supportive of you and your choices and your dreams and your visions, that's not going to make you feel good. So it's very important that you make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. And I've never had a better set of people that I've been surrounded by. And yeah, the majority of them are online. I frequently speak to these people online every day, but just because they're online, it doesn't mean they're any different. You know, you could speak to your friends over text. It's exactly the same thing. So if you're struggling with depression, find people that will support you and uplift you and help you in your journey. Positive affirmations I found really help. It's a case of rewiring your brain. You know, you've been so used to thinking negative things, you need to rewire that brain, and you can do that. You know, 10 years ago, you were a completely different person as to the person you are today. And you are a completely different person because of what's happened to you in life, that you've just slowly transitioned and been conditioned into a completely different person. That can happen to you out of life. So that it's safe to say that you can completely rewire your brain and who you are if you take those steps and make those choices to do that. And positive affirmations really do help. And yes, at first you are going to feel like a complete whack job. You're not going to believe what you're saying, and you're going to be like, this is so stupid. Trust me, I know, I've been there. But it helps. With anything, repetition is key. You understand that, I'm sure you know, when you're in college or university or school, when you're learning something new, you need to repeat it over and over again for it to stay in your mind. And that's the same with positive affirmation. So every day you say it, write it down, say it out loud, look at yourself in the mirror and feel it. Look at yourself in the eyes and feel it. I am enough. I am amazing. I am deserving. I am strong. I am happy. I am a good person. I am a good friend. There are so many things that you can say that can rewire your brain. And the more often you do it and the more you repeat it, the easier it becomes over time. And then you start believing it. It's such an amazing feeling when you start believing it. I also randomly had this guy contact me in regards to energy healing. It was in, I think it was around April 2017, and I had my initial energy healing session with him. And then I needed to work up the funds to be able to carry on working with him. So I carried on my work with him in April 2019, and he released a lot of my trapped emotions that were causing my depression. And since having work done with him, I had 6 sessions with him, and I cleared my heart wall and cleared cleared trapped emotions that were affecting my depression. I have felt such a difference, and that work has actually had a profound effect on me, so much so that I decided to get certified in this energy healing work so I could help other people with this, because it helped me. So yeah, in summary, the things that I feel really helped and contributed to me getting over my depression was personal development, the food that I was putting into my body, the drink that I was putting into my body, staying hydrated, exercise and fitness, positive affirmations, the people that I surround myself with, and energy healing. I could say that there are more. I've read that meditation also helps. It's the whole mindfulness, and it's just being in control of your mind, because we are in so much control, and we honestly don't realize how powerful we are and how much we can do until we tap into that knowledge. And that's where the personal development came in for me, definitely. So, yeah. I want you to look at those things for yourself, and I want you to rate those on a scale of 0 to 10 on where you're at and how you feel they serve you right now, currently in your life. Okay? So see where you're at, and then wherever you're at with those, think, okay, well, how can I better this? What can I do to make this better? And work on it every single day. It's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. But I tell you, in a year, in 2 years' time, you are going to thank yourself for taking these steps and making those changes for yourself. I wish you the very, very best in your future journey, in your happiness, in your success, in your health, and in your wealth. And if you need anything, feel free to pop me a message. I am always happy to help.